Richard and Matt went to a party the weekend and I bought this back for me to put in a skip when it arrives. I'm glad I wasn't invited now. Hello everybody, hope you're well. Back working together again and welcome to what is our 300th video. So if you've watched all them, fair play to you.
And you're still with us.
Yes, we're as amazed as you are, trust me. Before we get started, a big hello to Darren Williams. Your lovely partner has been in touch via Instagram, said that you've hurt your back or something and you've somehow sought solace in watching our videos. So I hope you actually feel better and not worse for it. But there you go. Hello, Darren. Thank you for watching, mate.
Thanks, Darren.
Right then. Roofs. In this video we are going to go into the very complexity of these roofs, how this person and Corby at the back has worked them all out for us. We're going to explain how to work out where the ridges go into the existing roof, all that sort of stuff, all top tips. Stick around and we'll get on to it, but we're going to start with explaining exactly what it is we've got to do. Okie dokie then, let's see how good I am at explaining this. Corby and Rich have built roofs 1 and 2 of 6 on this job. And this is a snippet of what's to come within the episode, because everything that you see here has got to be emulated again beyond that one, the far side of that roof there. They've just sort of got this done, worked out how best to do it, worked out the best waterproofing techniques as they go. All this is temporary. A comment we had on a previous episode to this series is, are you having a temporary roof on it, or a lid, or whatever you want to call it, a tin lid? And the answer is no. And you know something, we might never have one ever, simply because we were quoted last year for one on a smaller version of this and it was £20,000. So I don't think we're ever going to be able to afford that and put it onto a price of a job. So this is the way it's going to be. So roof 1, it's lean-to, if you like, into a flat, into the existing roof. Now all this is going to be redone, re-roofed with slate. However, the customer also wants solar panels across the top here and beyond that ridge over there. Now, because he also wants slate, we can't just put a new roof from this point, our new wall plate, straight up to the ridge and change the pitch, because we can't go any shallower than what we've got to take these slates. So we're going to have to go as it is, basically up and across flat. So there's your lean-to and there's your flat. All will be explained, I say, a little bit later on. Also here, we'll just explain, there's also a pitched roof emulating that going along this garage as well at a later date. Doesn't need to be done yet, so it's not going to be. We're going to concentrate over here first, but that's also to come. And that's got a cantilever even, over the garage like so as well. But again, that's future episodes. Moving on then, onto our pitched roof here, which they've sorted, as I say, and Rich no doubt will mention it later on. All this felting, it's all temporary, it's just to keep it watertight, as they've gone into the roof there. And we've gone up and over with our ridge, our new ridge, going into the existing level over there. So eventually these new ridge tiles will come across and meet in the middle and come, and it'll all look lovely, blah, 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 blah. Within this structure as well, we've got, I can show you, a scarf joint up there. We'll show you, well, Rich will show you how he does those a little bit later on. And we've got a purling across there, because these roof is actually going to be extended out and cantilever over this lintel, because when you get to the front door, which is here, there's going to be another roof that comes up and then meets this angle that comes down there. I'll show a drawing. I'll put a picture how it was drawn on screen now, but as you can see on this drawing, where the ridges go into the roof, they're a lot shallower, which means that the drawings or the technical specifications for these solar panels go along the top just below the ridge, and there's this one clean bank all the way across. Well, that obviously hasn't translated into real life, because by the time that we've got our correct angle on this pitch in order to take the slate, that ridge needed to go at that height there, thus breaking up our path for all these solar panels. So that's going to have to be redesigned, but we'll cross that bridge as and when. So then we'll move on now to Richard explaining exactly how we done, or how they done, the flat roof leans on that side, because it's all going to be done again over here. Look who it is! Finally back together, like
Marmite and chunky peanut butter.
yeah, I was going to say Arnie and Danny DeVito from Twins, but we
Laura and Hardy.
yeah, we won't. Anyway, the flat part of it, as we just talked about earlier when I showed you over there, this is how we're constructing this. Over to our resident expert, Richard.
Oh, you mean me?
Yes,
right,
you,
okay.
yes.
All I've done, which you can't quite see because of the felt, is the piece of 4x2 that I'm then going to sit my 6x2, which is here. Doing a 6x2 flat roof rafter, C24. All I'm going to do is put that on there, that timber, like that, and that will therefore construct my flat roof. I'll put my fern strip on top of that to get my fall, but that is as simple as that. We did it a bit backwards because Ad may have already mentioned it, that we've got a solar panel at the top, so we've had to reference back to the solar panel and then allow enough space above it. So all this has been a bit backwards, hasn't it, Ad, unfortunately?
Yes.
It'd have been nice to put this and then say this is what you got left, but there we are. So what we did, myself and Corby did yesterday, you could hear downstairs cutting, even though it sounds like he's struggling. He's used to cutting it with his teeth, isn't he? So all we put a timber on there to the underside of our 6x2, knowing it's finishes about 145, and then level back to this beam. Now this is a 8x2 C24. I've set it in a position so we know that when I put this rafter on, this is the same pitch as that, which is 34 degrees. We've then got some 4x3, as you can see there, and got it underneath it to support it. And then we've nailed it into this. So this is all solid and all supported all the way through. And that's what we'll also be supporting my 6x2 flat roof, as you can see there. And that was the best way I found that we could do this, because that's fixed there and that's fixed there. It can't go anywhere. So we'll get this on, fern strips and plywood it, and then we'll cut it into this roof. Now this has been temporary felted and laughed. So I don't want any comments, please, about, oh, look at the side of the lath. I don't want it. I don't want to hear it. And I know the writing's upside down, but it's all upside down, so it's okay.
Please comments, it winds him up.
But this will be coming off. It's more to try and make sure that the habitable part of the house, which is all of it, remains as dry as we can. So when we come to it, we'll lap that felt back, run the plywood into that, and then form a valley here, and then we'll do our another little tiny lay board and put our valley there. And then we'll move over and we'll do the same as that on that part there, which will then complete the existing house in its form before we go round to the lovely extension around the back.
What a wonderful use of a push stick. Right, that's Richard just making the furring strips to go on this roof that you've just seen them assemble. He's made a great video on furring strips. If you want to know how to make your own, this is the one that you're looking for, a link to which will be in the description. And if I can work out how to put them tag things in the corner of the screen, it should be there now. If it ain't there now, I don't know how to do it, but there we go. So then, if you look from this angle now, it's all taking shape, isn't it? The first roof is the same as this, that's over the kitchen. Then you've got this up and over here, like so. And then you've got this one here, same as the first one. And then that one needs to be emulated over here, which we're going to start a little bit later on today. So yes, so that'll be the 4 roofs on here. Now obviously you can just plonk them on, you know, and then it's great, isn't it? Thing about roofs, they need to be roofed. They need to be waterproofed, and you know, it's not just about building them. You've got to build it with the idea that the roofer is going to come after you, and he needs to be able to do what he needs to do. In which case, there's valleys coming down, so he's got to put structure in for all that. That roof just can't go there, and that one stop there. That one's got to be all built into that, and it's all got to flow. Once the water goes down, it's all got to flow out somewhere. Blah de blah de blah. So that is heavily. You know, what's the word? In our conscience, shall we say, because the roof are behind us and we don't want to get called funny names off them, do we? So all that's what we're taking care of. Which again, we should explain a little bit later on. So now then, we'll put you back on a time lapse. We'll get these furring strips on. They do a little bit of boarding, ones we've got, just to get us over the existing house, to get that waterproof, or the best that we can do on a temporary basis. This doesn't need to be boarded yet, because obviously we're just down into nothing, and there's no point putting brand new boards on trying to keep them dry. They may as well not be on, mightn't they? They may as well stay in the shop for a little bit. And then we'll move on over here. Like you've seen from that footage, Rush and Corb, Rush?
Who?
Rush.
Who's he?
One thing you don't do.
I was rushing.
Rich and Corby have they've built that wall, they've put the structure in as you saw there, so it can all be roofed now and valued and all that sort of thing. Covered temporarily. Yeah, and that's it, that's going to be left now until it needs to be uncovered and actually properly roofed. Now we're going to move on to building that over here, and as you've seen also, we've got these in just to create a bit of a platform for us to work off. They're all screwed down, everything's lovely. Now then, so we've got this pitch to build over the front here, and also that ridge to go into the roof there. But where does that ridge meet that one over here? Well, we need a resident expert. I'll hand you over to Mr. Richard.
Hi. The reason this is different is because I calculated that one based on the ridge being exactly the same height that side, because the wall plate to wall plate width, your overall span, was a lot wider. So I knew that it can only go as high as that ridge. It couldn't go to 34 degrees, which is what that roof is, because the ridge was too high. So that was easy. I knew it was just that ridge and that ridge, that's it. This one, however, is a lot narrower by about 1400, I think. So therefore, I can't now go to the same height ridge as that one. So how do you do it? Just off your cuff. I've measured from the wall plate either side, a measurement that way and a measurement that way on the wall plate. So we know we're exactly parallel with our measurements off the front. Then what we've done is, we've gone tape measure, iron through a centre, which we sort of gathered was where it is. So if you're looking there, that's our centre of our building, which is half our span, which is also centre of your ridge. We then got a tape measure and measured from there up to there and drew an arc. From that side and up to there and drew an arc. And where they intersect is then the centre of your ridge. It worked, so we're happy with that.
Providing you take your measurement from the same place, either side.
Yes.
Does it matter where that measurement is, where you take it from?
It does where you take it from, as long as what we did was we measured from the face of the building, and we knew whatever happens is, it's then, if that measurement is exact from the face of the building back on both sides, you know then that is centre of your building. Even if your building was out square like that, then you still know, no, the robot, you know, excuse me, that is centre of this building. Even if it is slightly out of square, it just means it's going to be centre. So we've done that. I've then used my roofing app, which is Ultimate Carpenter, I think it is. I bought his square last year, really happy with it, and I use his app. And because I know my overall span, and I know I want this to be 32-degree pitch, exactly the same as that one, I can input that into the app, along with the width of my ridge, which is 47 mil. That gives me a rafter height. So now what we're going to do is, rather than try and guess where that is and break all the roof open, we're going to create two rafters to our measurements with a little bit of off-cut ridge into it and put them up in the air and brace them all so they're upright. We can then remove a little bit of ridge and put the main ridge inside it, and then press it into the roof with a seat cut on it. And when that seat cut hits the roof and becomes level, we know then that's where the top of the ridge is. Still with me? You're going to see it visually shortly, so don't worry about trying to keep up with what I'm talking about. But that's what we're going to do anyway, to work out in the roof where it is rather than exposing all of the roof. If this wasn't habitable, it wouldn't matter. We could just rip it all off, put a ridge up there, and it is where it is, doesn't matter. But in this instance, we want to take 1 or 2 tiles off, not a big hole's worth, hence doing it this way. And I still think this is the best way anyway.
As you can see what they've done there, they've angle grinded those tiles out to keep it nice and tight, and when it comes to waterproofing it back in for the weather, it makes a much easier and neater job. You're not flapping around and whatnot in the wind and the rain. And just as you've mentioned, we're going to break into the roof.
Yes.
It has started to rain.
It's spitting.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
So there we go. Right then, shall we crack on with that?
Let's do it.
Should we introduce Corby first? Here he is, look.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Got him a good day then. I don't want straight in the face. What's your name? Where'd you come from?
Corby, I'm from Australia,
What part?
near Sydney, Central Coast.
Bloody hell. What's that? 12,000 miles away?
Close.
Hell of a commute, that, isn't it?
It is. I don't know who still gets here for 8 o'clock. I don't know who does it.
It's amazing.
Finish at half 4 and he's back here for 8. It's next day. It's weird, isn't
He's
it?
here before me, but we won't go into that. Right then, we'll make that hole. They'll do what they've got to do up there, and then yeah, then we'll crack on.
Oh, I'm excited. Certainly a nice start to our day today. Sunny and cold, but I prefer it that way rather than wet and warm. Right then, so the first thing we're going to do today is set ourselves up for the roof that you saw us start literally a few seconds ago. We have done our arc to know where our ridge is going to intersect with the roof. We didn't expose the roof the other day because the onset of rain was imminent, so we didn't want to make a hole in the roof and then leave it for a couple of days, because I have been off this job for a couple of days. Well, one day, because it was the weekend as well. We are finished our day though, underneath the gazebo, cutting the rafters ready for that roof. So all of the common rafters are cut for the gable. So once they're installed, what we'll do then is we will open the roof up, set our lay boards, and then complete our jack rafters. So in true keeping for roofing, literally to the second, or should I say within the first 5 seconds of us saying, right then, let's cut the tiles out then, started to rain. Not heavy, luckily, just a little tiny drizzle, and then stopped again. And it's drizzling a little bit now, which you won't be able to see on camera, but the sunshine's still out. You won't be able to see what I've done there. On the time lapse though, I put 2 lay boards in. Once the rain stops, I'll uncover that, and it's on the screen now. But what I've done is I've put 2 lay boards in between 2 rafters, which then allows me to put the seat cut of that roof. That roof is 34 degrees, so therefore the seat cut is 56 degrees because it makes up 90, if you're not aware of that. Your plumb cut is your plumb cut, so like this one, that's your plumb cut. And your seat cut is that one. So there we are, 90 degrees, those 2. So that's all, I've covered that in now and waterproofed it. What I've then done is, little tip for you, this ridge has got quite a crown in it. So all I've done is, we decided to pack this up a little bit before we levelled it in. I've then already pre-cut my seat cut, as you would have seen, to sit on my lay boards. We've then made sure this was perfectly upright. We had to tweak it a little bit because I'd pulled and pushed it a bit too much and pushed it out a little bit. So we've got this plumb. I've then pulled that, got fixed and screwed that there, and then once we knew we were level, and I've fixed it onto the lay boards that end in the roof. And then what I've done is, as you can see, because of the crown, we have put 12mm, which is what it worked out to, which is literally just 2 pieces of felt, lath even, God Jesus, slate tile, get your words out Rich. And then I've measured 12mm that end, and then pulled the string line. Now you can't really see it on the screen, but well, you can a little bit, but that there now in the middle, it's probably about 16mm. Oh, getting shot, about 16mm. So it's not massive crown, but I could see it. It's when we look down it, that's why I've done that. It just means now when my rafters go on, I'm not going to go up and down on my roof like that. It just means they'll go parallel all the way across now to each other and all in line. When you look down that line there, as I do, it just means they're all going to be in line and not like that, or rolling like that because I followed the shape of that. That's a little tip for you. I've done that plenty of times before. Timber's better now. And we had our timber from Arnold Laver, and the timber has been very good. We haven't had to crown many timbers at all, but this one we did. I don't even know if we got that from Arnold Laver, if I'm honest. So anyway, I may be putting them down. That's nothing to do with them. Right then, so what we're going to do now, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, there are pre-cut rafters. Corby's just getting them up now. And these are the ones I talked about earlier, like I said, that we'd pre-cut on our final day last week, rather than doing that and expose it to the weather. And it did rain all weekend pretty much. We're going to get these on now, so we'll stick a time lapse on, putting them in, we'll temporarily unscrew that again once we put this lath back on. Put the rafters on the ends first, our last common rafter, which then allows us to get this end of this ridge perfectly in line like that, because I know that from here, wall plate to wall plate is the same width, which is 4-4-10. I made sure we did that when we put these in, which then makes a lot of, plus we also know that they're level. If they're level to each other, tops are level that way, and level this one, level to that one, and parallel, your roof makes it a hell of a lot easier to put your roof on. So we always make sure we do that, take a bit of time on that. Put these rafters on now, the last two, and then if our plumb cuts, once the bird's mouth's on like that, doesn't quite meet up at the top, we know we've got to bring that round or push it out, and then ultimately, once the two are level, then we know we're right. So we'll crack on with that, and we'll talk about it a bit more in a minute. Roof's on. Happy with that. We just had to adjust a couple of them based on where they sat, like this one for example. I had to cut the plumb cut off because it was hitting the rafter on that flat roof. These are all, well, I'm not pretty happy. There's a cup on this side, on the other side, so it's sort of doing this as you look at it. So as you can see, it's sitting a little bit hard on this bottom edge, so there's a little bit of a gap there. But obviously this side, where it's this way, so it sits nice top and bottom, it's sitting lovely on all of them. Happy with the bird's mouths on all of them. Can't really see them from here, can you? Trying to tell you they're nice. I'm not showing you. So there we are. I'm happy with those. If you can see those, they're all nice and tidy. All I've done for now is I've just screwed them. And then it just makes it a lot more stable. Screw it first, and then I can go ahead then and run through with the nailer, because remember, these are coming off. These are only put on temporary for us to brace the wall plates so that it didn't spread when we put weight on it, and also something for us to stand on. Now we've completed that, these can potentially come out now and put ceiling rafters in, 6x2 or whatever maybe we're going to use for that. We're just checking the span for that, but we're thinking about 6x2. So I'm happy with that as well. What we're doing now is, as we have done over there, but you didn't see us do it because we haven't captured any footage of that so far, have we? All I've done now is, if you can sort of see that there now, look, we've put our lath on, if you can just see it popping in and out of screen there, look. So it's in line here. Now I know that lath is above where I need to be, so I shall score that all the way down the left hand side of that lath now with a grinder. Cut it off nice and tidy, just like that one over there, to allow me to then waterproof it nice. So I shall do that, and then we'll cut a channel, other side of there, and about sort of 300 or 400 mil this side as well, to allow us to put our lay board in, because the lay board has got to sit on the existing rafters. It can't sit on your lath, or it shouldn't sit on your lath. It upsets the roofers because it's too high, and it's just not the way to do it, because you can't get a good fixing, because you're potentially fixed into rotten laths, which in this case, you know, they're at the end of their life really. So we'll cut all that off, take all the lath off and sit it flat on the existing rafters to get nice and flat, to then aim for that when it's on, when you do this, it's like that lath is there, look, it's sort of nice and flat. That's what we're aiming for with our lay board. And of course then what it means then is, when you line up with the edge of your lay board with your jack rafters, which I'll go through with you later on the episode, how we're going to cut them and how we line them up and what have you, how we work the angles out, all that, go through all that with you. They sit nice on the lay board up there, and then all this roof lines up nice. Now, just to take, because you take a bit of time, line everything through, what it means then is, it means that that all sits nice on your rafters, no gaps, and keeps the roofers happy as well. And when you know the roofers that are coming, you don't want to give them a crap job, because they talk about you then. Right then, so as I said to you, just one last thing I'll point out to you. We followed our chalk line all the way across there, look, just to make sure we're all in line. If we'd have followed the crown of that, we would have been a country mile off. This would have gone up like that and then back down again if we'd have followed the crown of that 9x2, because like I say, I think it was 12 mil and 16, 18 mil in the middle. So it's 6 mil at a level, and you'd have definitely seen it when you look there like that. Right, I'm not going to film what we're doing now because there's no point, it's just me cutting some tiles off, but I'll show you once we've got ourselves set, and we'll talk about setting and cutting your angles on your lay boards. I did say I was going to discuss with you the technical way of setting out a lay board. So here it is. It's always a bit more difficult when you've got an existing roof on to mess around with lay boards. You can't just pull string lines and what have you. You know, you can't just eye it through and pull a string line. So what we did, I've already explained to you, we put a piece of lath on here and cut these tiles off to allow us to be sort of parallel to where we need to be, giving us a margin of about 50-60 mil there away from that, so we can put this in. What you haven't done, or haven't seen should I say, is I got into the loft and I've pulled this felt up underneath the old laths and stapled it to the other side of the laths to try and keep us watertight. Worst part of a roofing job is this part, having to spend 2 hours of your day setting out ready for just waterproofing, which is what this is. If we could just rip it off, this roof would be on by now, but it isn't. So here we are. Here's a technical way of working it out, because I knew that this line here was near as damn it. All I did was, I've got a piece of timber like this one that had already got a plumb cut on it. I put it against there like that, and I run this line against that cut edge that I've done, so I know I'm sort of parallel. I then cut it off at that line once I've scribed it, which then gives me that cut like that, and that's it. That's as technical as it goes. I'm sure there's a Pythagorean rule of working out, but why go to all that trouble when this works just as good? All you do then is you make sure this top edge is where the rafters finish. So there, look, on my chalk line, this top edge has always got to finish on the same place as when you put your rafters on. That's where they finish, look. You also then, what you do is, if you could just demonstrate please, Corby, with that profile, you then make sure that when you run all the way through, let me just get down and show you as he does it. So you can see he's sitting on all the rafters there, look. And then you run it all the way through to make sure that when this comes in, it sits Ooh, there's a little bit in it, Corbin, there. Do it down the bottom a sec. I know there's a bit of a cast in this one. Let's have a look. So this is just true to life, this is. Yeah, it's catchy. It's sitting there, look, isn't it? It's sitting at the bottom. There's a little bit in that maybe, but there was a bit of a cast in this bit of 8x2. At the bottom, anyway, what I tend to do is I tend to strike a line, find a point on there, measure down from my rafter, down to there, so you can pull your line parallel across the rafters, and then wherever that touches, you know that's right, because as I said to you, this edge is the one that you want. And then when you set your jack rafters out, you make sure that you measure from the right hand side of your rafter, which when you go down to the lay board is the longest point, because when you look at your you got a pencil, Corb? It's not in my pouch. Here we are. I'm going to show you anyway, but this is just quickly, just a bit of a quick visual for you. We got one. Here we have. I've took my pouch off because I've been inside that loft. When you put your jack rafter, it's going to look, oh blimey, something like that. That's what it's going to look like. Can you see that? And if you can you? Let me do it again. It's going to look something like that. That's the bottom of your rafter. It's going to look pointed like that, and it's that point there. So you measure from there on your ridge all the way down to the right hand side of your rafter, and then it'll sort of sit like that. Look, it'll sit across there like that. That's where it'll sit. And you have to put the splay of this roof on that side, because it can't be square like a normal bird's mouth. And then you screw it into there. And there we are. And if you have got a little bit of movement like that in your lay board, because I know I'm great top and bottom, if there's a little bit of this, also, if these rafters dip a little bit like that, when you put your lay board on, you can pack it and what have you as well, but just remember that, and I'm the wrong person that should say this really, sometimes you just have to do what you've got to do. Now I like to make sure it's all perfect. I like to make sure that all my plumb cuts and seat cuts are all lovely. But if you've got a bit of an issue where it's lovely there, planes across beautiful there, my opinion would be that if you put your lay board flat on top of all your rafters, that's the best fiction you can possibly have, rather than, you know, epoxy little packers underneath it and all that business. You could put bits of 4x2 and screw it to the side, but really what you can do is when you put your jack rafter on, you can just swing it round. If you swing it round or pull it down on your lay board to make sure it planes through like that, then that's good. That's going to make sure, what you want to make sure is that all these rafters all go through. When you look down like that, they're all lovely like that. Look, that's what you want. That's what you're aiming for on this, is it all goes all the way through. So I'll shut up talking now. We're going to waterproof this in because it's gone a bit dull. Waterproof this in properly now. We're going to tack it over this hole. Then we're going to cut all our jack rafters, ready for the next job. And then when we think we're ready to go, we can pull this off quick, fix the jack rafters, and put it back on again. Right, what we're going to do now, we're going to spend the last hour or so of our day just cutting jack rafters because the weather's a bit dodgy. And what I don't want to do is leave that roof uncovered. So that's all covered up now. We shall see in the morning when we come back. It's all covered up watertight, fingers crossed. So we're going to cut these. We have measured them all. And we're going to start with the smallest one because these are our offcuts from before, so it's already got our 32 degree, because that's the pitch of our roof. 32 degrees, lovely, like that, ready to go. So it's just quicker because we've already got one cut done. I said to you that we want to go to the longest measurement, so this orientation, as I look at it, this side, the top side, is my longest measurement. When the jack rafter goes up like that, this is my longest measurement on the right hand side. So drop it down in the orientation that you're going to be marking it and measuring it, because it makes it easy for yourself. Our first measurement was 548. So I marked 548 on there. And once you've done that, the best thing to do then is visualise the way it's going to be cut, so you don't cut it the wrong way. So the best way I've found is just hold the rafter up, and then just maybe do that and go, okay, so that's gone like that, so I know that the seat cuts that way, I know my longest point's there, so now, and then set yourself up so you know where you are. That's my seat cut there, like that. So if I give myself a set, get the other square out, because it's quite a long seat cut, I want to line myself up to this mark here. You can just about see, but as you can see, my seat cut, I can't quite reach it. And I could get a bit of batten. In fact, you know what? What's that? Oh, that's quite good. You put that there on purpose, didn't you? You put that on purpose, Cobb. So I'll just line that up with my seat cut on there, put it against there, make sure that the inside of my batten now is level with my mark, which is 5/48 from there to there, which again is your longest point. And then mark my line like that. So that now is my seat cut. The plumb cut and seat cut always remains the same. With a jack rafter, when you go into a lay board, it's the splay cut that changes, hence making it a jack rafter. Now, as I've already said to you, looking up my roof now, I know it's my right hand side that is the longest point, so I know that my cut has got to do that, like that. That cut has got to be, or the angle of that cut has got to be whatever the plumb cut of the roof is, the angle of the roof is, or the pitch that you're putting onto. In this instance, my roof is 32 degrees, which is this one. That roof, the existing, is 34 degrees. So I've set the bevel on my circular saw now to 34 degrees, and I'll follow this line, making sure that remains my longest point. And that then will sit on top of my roof, like that. Coming in like that, sit there like that. We'll show you this when we install them. So we'll mark all these, get them all cut, and then in the morning, weather permitting, we'll come back, strip the felt off, put all our jack rafters on, and then we'll felt the roof, as you've seen us do, all the others, just temporarily. That's it now. That's our rafter, or one of them, the longest one I thought I'd show you. And that now sits on the lay board like that. That's our longest point. Look, that 34 degrees sits on the roof. And there we are. And then what you can do then is when you've got your off cut, this is a bit small now. This will then go onto the opposite side because the longest point is on the left if you see it now. So you can use this now on the opposite side of your roof. But the best thing to do when you do that, just in case you've gone off a little bit, is just put your square on it. And just make sure that it's still perfect on your seat cut, which that one is. So I know I can use that one now, and that'll be good. There we are. Let's finish them off, and hopefully weather's good tomorrow to put them on. We're just getting ourselves set up this morning. Got our rafters up here that we cut last night, our valley rafters, and I did put it on the screen when I did the editing last night, but I've been calling these jack rafters and they're not jack rafters, so my apologies for the confusion. I'm now going to lift that back, expose the lay board and fit these valley rafters. While I'm doing that, we've just set the ladder up on our roof, and we're going to cut across the tile across there where we've already done with that bit of felt. We're going to cut across that, all the way across there, chuck a tarp on top of it, and then strip off all this roof so we haven't got a mess like we did that side to get our valley board on. Once that's done, we'll battle through the day. Hopefully the weather won't be unkind to us. Lay board on, valley rafters on, felt and lath this roof, felt and lath this one, felt and lath that one. Again, all temporary. And we're then going to put our ladder frames on here, aren't we, Corb? Yeah. Ladder frames on here, get this set so that it's ready for the barge board, and then we're going to jump back onto that one and do the same on that roof over there. However, we have got to put the timber through like we've got on that one there, sticking in the centre shot. We've got to put that one through across here as well. So we'll look at that. So let's just get on with that then. So this side of the roof's all in, goes in really, really quick when you've got it all pattern cut. And as I talked about yesterday with regarding the lay board, if it's a little bit low, if you have to do this, look, I'm not talking massively, but there's a little tiny bit there on mine. It's on my line, looks, but when I had to pull it this way a little bit, just to make sure it was nice and flat. You'd have seen on the time lapse, I was using this profile again to make sure it was all nice and flat. So I've got the opportunity, and there's one there as well, look. That sticks past a little bit, but then from experience, when you start to get shorter, your angles have got to be exactly correct then, because you do get discrepancies. And I mean, I'm happy with that. I'm more than happy with that. It's tight. It's tight on the back as well. Okay, there's a tiny little wafer thin there, but I'm happy with that. But when you do get to your shorter ones, it gets a bit more difficult to get that and that and that all lined up as well, in my experience. Long ones, you've got a bit of play, because you can force that end down and, you know, twist this end. But when they get shorter, you can't twist and manipulate them as much, so they have to go in as you go in. So like I say, as you, on that one there, they're a little bit off my line. However, this is perfectly flat. I have checked it. All I've had to do at the bottom, I'll explain what this bit of 4x2 is in a minute. But at the bottom there, look, I've had to, because my lay board finished and I couldn't get underneath that flat roof. I've put a piece of 8x2 from this on top of the wall plate, put my seat cut onto this lay board, fixed it in, and then I've put my last rafter, I've worked it out and cut that off as a complete plumb cut and seat cut there, look. And then put a little jiffy hanger at the bottom to carry this last rafter, because I've got no lay board to sit it on. The wall plate couldn't be extended because that's where the wall finishes, and I couldn't extend it over and have it in mid-air. So I said, well, just stop it there and I'll sort this out, and I have done. This 4x2 now, because you wouldn't have seen it on the other side. Sorry mate, carry on, Corb, carry on. So Corb just stopped just so we can, so I can turn it, no, it's fine, you carry on mate, you carry on. What this is now, this 4x2 is set across there to carry the extra plywood now we need to go from this roof to that roof. This will carry on like that, and then we'll plywood up the roof a little bit as well, to allow us to felt on this one and up that roof, and then tile over the top. So that's what that's for. And Corb is currently cutting the ripper ply that's going in there. We have also started to strip that roof off there, and we put our tarping ready just in case it starts to rain. I'm going to jump up there now, rip the rest of that off and set my lay board. And again, if it rains, we can just drop that down. This roof is complete then, and you will see from the time lapse it looks a bit different now. We've felted and lathed that and felted and lathed this. Again, it's all temporary. We've allowed these to come on a bit longer, just so when we put our ladder frame in, which we're going to start tomorrow on that roof there, we can obviously pull it over and be under this canopy. Then it'll be pulled over a little bit more and give some more protection for the inside there. Because the plan next is to, like I've just said, put these ladder frames on here, or which is another 2 joists, rafters even. We've got to put our double 8x2 in here, same as that one. 2 rafters in here, and then we'll be putting walls out of this stuff, 4x2 treated, on top of our 2 wall plates. And then this front of this will be clad then, which then means it protects this, which then means that all this roof can come out, and we can start doing stuff inside there and inside there. So there we are, that's our next plan. So we'll get on with that next then.
And on an impressively foggy day, said ladder frames, or at least the start of one, over on this this side, this apex cut up pike, whatever you call them, your part of the world. We'll just show you what the lads have been working very hard on over here, which is near completion. Let's talk you through a few things. It's all fairly standard stuff really in terms of what we've done on the channel before, so not a lot of it has been filmed because I've had to crack on basically. But what Rich and Corby have done is built this frame, as you can see here. This is the external skin of it, if you like, and there's an internal one near identical on the inside just there, which is obviously, as you can see, been membraned like so. And then there's a cavity which has been insulated just above the ceiling space, because this isn't a vaulted ceiling, it's going to be a flat ceiling, so that's all going to have its insulation. I think the ceiling height is around about here, I think, shot on top of the windows, so it's going to have insulation along the ceiling up to about, I don't know, there. It's going to be 300, it's going to go for gold. The customer's going to do all that, and he just wants it insulated up and past that, which is about there. So it's a nice big blanket above the ceiling. And then external skin, as you can see, which is just about to be OSB'd, said OSB. Little clamp on there, this little top tip for you, stop it blowing over and hurting you or whatnot, and breaking and things like that. And if I could get out my own way, there, that's going to be OSB'd, and then that's got to be felted again, battened, and it's going to be clad, because these cut-ups, as I call them, are going to be clad in I'm not too sure actually yet. I don't think the customer has chosen it, but needless to say, it's going to be very, very nice. Now, I did say it's going to be rendered. Originally, it was all going to be rendered from the brickwork feature there, from the blockwork up, rendered throughout, but the customer now wants these cut-ups clad with the render going from the feature up to the cladding. So all will be revealed in future episodes of that. Yeah, and then this, the reason why this sticks out so much is for two reasons. First and foremost, it's going to incorporate the front door as well and create a bit of a porch area. So this cut up here is going to be emulated down, flush with this. If I can get out my own way really and show you, flush with that coming down over the front door to create a porch area. And also, that one there is 150 mil. Is going to be 150 mil out of the blockwork, finished, and this, when it's done, is going to line in beautifully straight the way down. So although these cut-ups do come out different, or the house itself comes out at different distances, it's all going to marry in via the roof straight the way down. It's going to look absolutely lovely, and that, as you can see, is a lovely overhang for over your front door. So yeah, so we haven't really been able to film a lot of that because, as I said, lads have had to crack on, and the weather's not been great, so it hasn't been too bad really. I've had a couple of leaks which we're just trying to patch in every now and again, but we're getting there. It's all right, it's all right. But in terms of what we are going to film thoroughly, every single aspect of, is this roof over here. I think we're going to do the garage one next, but when this gets done, this is going to be like what they call a bastard hip. This is all will be explained in a little series within a series where we do every single aspect to this roof and show you how we're going to do it, from setting out to where we put the wall plate on and how we put the wall plate on, all the way through working out the angles, how we're going to do it, because it's going to be a bit of a suck it and see. But we're going to go for every single decision, and it's all going to be there. So look out for those. If you haven't already, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and then as soon as it's arrived on YouTube, it'll be there waiting for you. It'll tell you when it. So there we go. So stay tuned for that. Right, I might go down and join these fellas for a bit of a sandwich, and then I think we'll call it a day. Rightio then, that is it. That is our 300th video. Here's to 300 more, Rich? It's
Well, at least a couple anyway.
A couple more, we'll see, we'll see. big thank you to actually to Corby as well, and obviously to Richard, who's done all these roofs. I haven't done a fat lot, if anything, to contribute to this.
But lovely coffee though, Ed.
It was all right, wasn't it? It weren't too bad.
Yeah.
Also, very quick update on our fundraising thing for Birmingham Children's Hospital. At the beginning of the last video that I mentioned it, we were up to, I believe, 674 quid. I'll put it on screen now exactly what it was, but we are now up to this figure here. I think it's around about 800 quid top of the head, but I'll put the exact figure on now. So thank you very much to the people who contributed to that. If you want to, just do the super thanks, and we'll go into a bit more detail in the next episode to this little series, tell you how you can contribute to that and exactly what we are doing. Do you have anything else to mention, Rich, while you're here?
No, I think that, again, from me as well, a massive thank you for the people that give super thanks, because yeah, it's going to do a lot for kids in hospital at Christmas.
It really is. Yes, thank you very, very much.
Making me want to cry already. Just
I
thinking
know,
about it.
I know. We're not emotionally set up for this whatsoever. No. Speaking of being emotionally set up, are you ready for this HIPS roof over there?
I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Because
I've got a clue.
Because this one, as mentioned slightly earlier, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a head scratcher, but we're going to do it. We might even do day-by-day videos on it, just because, yeah, to see how far we get, what we can get done in a day. Obviously, if it's going to rain all day, we won't document that, but we'll see. If it's something that you want, put it in the comments. Also, speaking of putting it in the comments, I did say that Rich was going to show you to a scarf joint on this ridge here to emulate the one he did over there. However, we did manage to get a 6 metre length of timber for this bit, which we couldn't get to do the other one, hence no scarf joint. If you want a video on how to do a scarf joint, let us know in the comments and we'll do a little 10-minute thing, and Rich will show you how you can possibly do it. What do you reckon?
Well, give it a go, can't I?
Why not?
I'll have to check a YouTube video to make sure I know how to do it first.
Absolutely, that's what Robin Clever's for, isn't it? Right, absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take care.
Try a bit.